Laura back to the podium.
We weren't thinking clearly when we put this on the program, which is to try to have a few minutes closing statement after such a full day. We were obviously tired, and I guess I will just say this, and this is my folk psychology just working. How many food references did the people just say? Okay, so we heard about melting pots, consumptions, salad bowls, lasagna, marinating, and I think that's all priming us to do what we really want to do, which is get out of here and eat. So I'm going to let us do that, but I will say one thing about cooking as a metaphor. It has to do with thinking about what would it mean to be a colorblind cook or colorblind cooking, or what would that look like. I guess the closest I could come to is that we get on the other end something like stone soup or junk food. And the reason I say that is that the contradictions that have been sort of made manifest today between what the ideal is and what we know, both scientifically as well as just in our gut, tell us that this is actually a fraud that has been sort of perpetuated and gained its own sort of traction over time. And I call this up just because I want to say that if we really wanted to do some real cooking, right, the cooking that really sustains us, we would understand that it is both a product of alchemy, which is a bit of magic, and chemistry, which is science. And I'll just leave us with that, and hopefully we can go have a good meal together.
Okay, that was day one. Help me in thanking everybody who was part of it. So, as Professor Harris gave us such a nice prelude, we do make time to at least have some appetizers, if not a meal together. And we have a reception typically at the end of the first day just to allow you to download some of what you've heard and just to make community with each other and get ready for another fascinating day. And I'd like to just provide a roadmap about what's coming next and make some announcements. Our reception this year, we're really proud to be doing in conjunction with another conference that's actually happening regarding a book on tribal law stories that is actually being organized by one of our colleagues who's part of the core faculty here at the law school, Carol Goldberg, an eminent scholar in the field of tribal law and a member of our core faculty for several years. And we encourage you really to engage with the folks who are going to be joining us for the reception outside about the work that they're doing. And also just to know that this is an area where we continue to try to do some important work and thinking, which is how one might bridge tribal law and Native communities and the conversation around race. And specifically, we're really proud to announce that this year we actually have our inaugural fellow here at CRS, who is Addie Rolnick, and is sitting up here. And Addie is actually exploring these questions. He's an alum with the CRS certification who has come back from doing Indian law practice and is actually looking at important questions around how we might enrich race theory by looking at Native communities and also enrich tribal law analysis by actually engaging the question of race. So say hi to her and connect with the broader community of folks who are here doing this work. One of the things that Addie has done in her capacity is help us put together the bios of everyone who's here as a panelist. You have those biographies in your packets. And we've also asked her to, she was the one who helped us compile the MCLE packets for those of you who are here who are practicing attorneys and who should have signed up for CLE credit outside. If you haven't and you're not coming back tomorrow, you should make sure to pick up your certificate and also your MCLE packet, which she's going to hold up. It looks like this. Don't leave without it. It has some of the most relevant articles that we could find regarding the topics that we had compiled for today's sessions. At the same time, we encourage you to be green. So if you're not going to read them, leave them behind. And we will find people who will read them. And also, if you're coming back tomorrow, we just ask you to come back with this agenda so that we don't have to give you a second one, and just be mindful of the environment. And also, what we'd like you to do, to ask you to do if you're not coming back tomorrow, is to make sure you fill out the evaluations that you got along with your agenda. Let us know what are areas that we need to excavate further, what are your impressions about how the day's been organized, and please drop them off in the box marked evaluations out front. And before we talk about what will happen tomorrow, for those of you who will be here, I want to actually say something about where we started and where we hope to go, and some of the themes that have come up. And that is this great historicization that Professor Crenshaw did for us about the relationship between the broader movement, which I actually see myself in, a movement of people of color who made it through the toxic environments we're talking about into institutions like this one to be able to have and force this conversation, and created an entire field called critical race theory. It's an honor to be part of that. And for us at UCLA School of Law, having the distinction of being the only law school with a formal critical race study specialization as part of the official curriculum is another testament to the legacy of struggle that our communities have been in. And we want to thank you, because sometimes you speak into the world and don't know if there's anyone listening. And obviously, for us to be able to operationalize that movement into a formal program, to talk about coursework, a curriculum, an annual symposium, and infrastructure, it is the kind of work that is not recognized as movement building work all the time, but that is exactly what we're engaged in here today. And we want to give you an opportunity, picking up on the theme of what Obama has been able to accomplish, to support us in our mission. We have held fast to the principle that this should be an open conference. We webcast it live for people across the country who can't afford to fly here. We offer you lunch for free, and we encourage you to invite your friends. And so what we'd like to do today, I'm asking some of our assistants to pass out some pledge forms, and to ask you to figure out what it is that you'd like to offer to give to us as support financially, so that we can follow a model that actually says we actually know how to work on the inside and on the outside. To run a program like this costs money, and we cannot actually accomplish that without you. When you do that, you become more than just an audience member and a participant. You become a friend and a stakeholder in this movement. And we invite you tomorrow. We have a reception annually as part of this conference to join us at the Friends and Alumni reception with a lot of our alums who are working really hard to further institutionalize this path at this law school and beyond. So I'm going to ask these folks to pass this around while I tell you what we're going to do tomorrow. If you can just give us $5 to cover the subway lunch, that's great. If you want to give us more, that's fantastic. We'll follow up on the pledge form. For tomorrow, we're going to start the morning at 9 a.m., not quite as early for the panelists who are here today at 8:30. I want to thank them for getting up so early after flying so far. And we're going to actually begin the day with a panel that began as part of the tradition of our students who really brought this idea to the faculty in the first year. And that is creating a space at this symposium that's smaller, that's a round table, and where we can actually see each other. And we actually put the theme of the conference out for discussion beyond just this fascinating academic research, but also applying it to the spaces in which we're doing our work. Tomorrow's Student Practitioner Roundtable, the topic is how race functions in colorblind law schools and in legal workspaces. And we have some of our practitioners coming tomorrow morning to help guide that conversation along. We want to encourage those of you who are here today and are coming tomorrow to get up on time. That session is actually going to be in room 1447. It is around the corner. It is a smaller room. We do expect there to be a smaller crowd. It is Saturday morning at 9. But the benefit of that is that it's a different type of conversation, and again, you can at least look at each other as you're engaging the topic. We will have two more panels, such as the distinguished panels, such as the ones you've seen today. One entitled Bigger Pictures, which will be moderated by Professor Jerry Kong. And then another one in the afternoon called Interventions, which is going to be moderated by Professor Russell Robinson of the CRS faculty. We also have one more keynote address following up on today's account of history and actually pushing us to think about where we're going with this, and that's going to be a keynote address entitled Colorblindness and Social Science, Are We Relevant to the Law? By Professor Valerie Purdy-Vance. And then after that, we will, we invite all of you to see yourselves as part of the community of friends and alumni of CRS at UCLA. We're going to have closed this two-day shebang with a reception in the Law Library Tower at 4:30 p.m. Hopefully we won't run over like we did today, 4:30 or 5, and we invite all of you to join us there. So we'll see you in the morning. I encourage you to turn in your forms up front in the box.
Just one thing before we go. I wanted to publicly thank Saul for all the work that he's done. And I also want to thank the student volunteers. Raise your hand. Student volunteers. This is the work that makes it possible. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Or later, actually, now. Right.